Does anyone know, anyone tell me what the definition of credit is? Anybody? You guys are in college, you gotta know this. Or at least your own version. Yes, sir?
Kind of like a measure of your ability to pay back a loan or something, or debt?
Correct. It's an easy definition for credit is the ability to make payments over time, right? So it's your ability to make consistent payment over a time period. So if you borrow money from me today and say, Jay, I want $100, and I give you $100 and you pay me back tomorrow, I'm happy you paid me back, but you didn't establish any real credit. Same thing with a bank or a debit card or a credit card. So a lot of times what we do is, and where we're misinformed, miseducated, is that we'll charge some things on our card this month, and then we'll pay it all off at the end of the month. And we think that we did a good thing because we paid it off, right? We have a zero balance. This has to be great. But by doing that, you form no credit with the bank by paying off your entire loan. So you want to make payments over a time period. Now, if you charge something for $300 and give the bank $30 this month, $30 the next month, maybe $60 you double up, maybe $20, you've now shown the bank you can make payments over a time period. So we'll write the definition of credit. I'm going to tell you why. Then we're going to go into why that's actually valuable, right? It's just not about a definition, but it's the foundation. So credit is the ability to make payments over time, right? So where this starts, and we're going to talk about how you establish credit and how credit is viewed. So with credit, your ability to make payments over time, this is the core of how you start to build wealth. Because most millionaires, most billionaires, they don't use a majority of their own money for their investments or for buying properties or buying businesses or whatever they do. They use their credit. They leverage their credit. When you see somebody buying a basketball team or buying these big businesses or $400 million, Facebook was sold or Instagram or all these kind of things, these things aren't typically purchased with cash capital. They're purchased by banks because people have made payments over time throughout their lifetime, have established real leverage with banks, and now can go to a bank and say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about opening a Chick-fil-A in Jersey City. And the bank's going to say, well, what's your ability to make payments over time? I love to loan you the money. It sounds like a good idea. You got a great business plan. I want to loan you this money. But if you go to the bank, but hey, I paid everything off my whole life in cash. Look, they're going to say, well, how do I know you're going to pay me through the life of this loan? If you want to purchase a house, it's typically a 30-year mortgage. What's going to show me that you're going to pay this mortgage back over 30 years? That's going to be your ability to make payments over time. So a lot of times, us, especially as youth, we think that cash is king. And in the real world, in the business world, cash is not king. Credit is king. Because this is going to allow you to leverage to make big moves in life, right? So for me, I learned this when I was 25. I bought my first house at 25. Then I bought 3 houses by 26 and 6 by 27. Then I learned I could leverage making those payments on all those properties over time to get big business loans, $1 million business loans. And private investors will invest in you because they've seen that you've made payments over time with other institutions, right? So this is where this becomes really valuable. So is everyone familiar with the fact that we have 3 credit scores? Does everyone know that? You have 3 credit scores? Does anyone know what that abbreviation is or how that's kind of summed up? What are your 3 credit scores called? Anybody? Or must I tell you? He knows everything. Yes. We all have, there's 3 credit bureaus. And the 3 scores are typically called your FICO score, right? Your FICO credit score. This is very important. You'll also hear it, we'll say FICO, and then I'll improvise and say, AKA, your middle score, right? So your FICO score is what you'll commonly hear referenced as your middle credit score. So you're someone, well, what's your credit score, right? You really have 3 of them. There's 3 credit scores you have. There's 3 credit bureaus. There's, and it might be, my spelling might be wrong, but it's Equifax, and there may be an E here, I'm not sure. TransUnion, and Experian, right? So there's 3 credit bureaus. And out of these 3 credit bureaus, you have a middle score, a FICO score, which when you apply for a car, they'll just take one of these, any one of these, depending on the car dealership. But when you apply for a house, and the reason why I'm relevant in this conversation, why they brought me here, is because if you look, real estate is the majority investment of wealthy people in America. There's, I think it's 80.8% of the real estate in America is owned by 10% of the population. So that means for every 8 house or every 10 houses you see, they're owned, 8 of them is owned by 1 out of 100 people. So real estate is a foundation for wealth. So this is a wealth seminar, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or what I call the Millionaire Blueprint, but it's somewhat of a real estate seminar, because real estate can be and will be the foundation of you achieving substantial wealth, right? So when it comes to purchasing homes, all banks look at your middle score, right? So say we have Equifax here, and you pull your credit, and your Equifax score is 680. Then you check your next score, your TransUnion, and you have a 700 credit score. But then we check your Experian, and for some reason you got a 620, right? On your FICO score, you have 3 scores. So what here is your middle credit score? It's not the average. What's that? 680? 700? It's 680, but why is it 680? Do you know why? Can you tell them why?
620 and then 680 and 700. So 680 is the middle one.
Correct. Very good. This is valuable information. This is like life-changing stuff right here. If you came in here today and you didn't know what your FICO score was, your middle credit score, you've been behind the game. Like, you've been behind. Like, you should know this before you know your favorite rap song. This is important. What your middle credit score is and how to find it. And the way you do that is, and I teach this to high school kids, college, adults, older adults, or whatever, but you take your highest credit score. Your highest credit score is what? Right? So it doesn't matter, you print your credit report out, right? Doesn't matter what order these numbers come in or these names come in. It makes no difference. When you find your middle, you take your highest score. Here's your highest, right? 700. And then what's your lowest score? 620. What are you left with? That's your middle credit score. You take your highest score and your lowest score and you throw them out, or you cross them out. So when you print out your credit report, pay no attention to the order that they're printed. You look for the highest score, you look for the lowest score. You cross them out. This right here is your middle credit score, your FICO. So if you're applying for a loan one day, you finally find that girl or guy of your dreams. You say, baby, we're going to buy a house. And you go to the bank and they say, well, we need to know what your FICO score is. You're not going to look like a deer in headlights now. You're going to know what your FICO score is, your middle credit score, which is the one between the highest and the lowest. Like, this is the foundation for building wealth. You can't be, and mind you, there's people that get lucky and become rich through luck, through inheritance, or through the lotto, or through other things. There's also people that put a gun to their head and pull a trigger, and it jams. But I don't want to run around putting guns in my head. The way that you can ensure that you become wealthy in life is by learning these basic core facts. Because now that you know what credit is, the ability to make payments over time, and you stop paying cash for everything and paying all your credit cards off at once, or understand that making those timely payments are very important and don't let them go into default by all means. If you can do this, make payments over time, and build up your credit scores and your FICO, you now put yourself in a position to be able to buy homes, cars, get business loans, and be able to leverage this credit for all types of things that can build value and revenue for your life, right? So this is all the foundation, what credit is and your FICO. Now, so people say, well, Jay, how can I build credit though, right? Does anyone know know how you can build credit? Fast track what? Yes.
You get a credit card, and you can use as small as $150, small increments, small month.
Correct. So we're going to say building credit. The how, right? So one thing we just said is that you can get small credit cards, small limit, we'll say CC, right? You can get small limit credit cards. Even if you're get a credit card for $50 a month, $100 a month, and you make those payments over time, you're not establishing a large limit of credit, but you're establishing your ability to make payments over time. You are establishing credit. That will increase your credit scores, thus increase your FICO score, right? By getting small limit credit cards. That's one way. Anyone else know how you can increase your credit score?
Take out a small loan.
We say?
Take out a small loan.
Correct. 2. Small loans. Same thing. Credit's credit, whether it's a credit card, whether it's a loan, even if it's a $2,000 car note, or car payment, and you're making payments over time, you're establishing credit. This sets you up for the win later. You got to think about the long haul, because one day before you know it, I didn't go to college. I wasn't fortunate enough. I made wrong decisions in life. But I learned some life lessons, and I was able to get this information and apply this information and make over $1 million for myself by 28, just by doing everything I'm telling you. This is not like some stuff I just read in a book and I'm just regurgitating it to you. This is actually stuff I really applied at 24, 25 years old. Everything I'm telling you is stuff that I learned, hands-on, and then I applied these things and became successful. So what's another way you can establish credit? How can you build your credit? Anybody? Cool, I'll tell you. You can go to a bank. Multiple banks, small bank, big bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, New Jersey Bank, wherever. And you can get a secured credit card or a secured loan. So same thing we just said here, right? But now you say, well, what if I apply, I keep getting denied? What you can do is you get the secured version of the above. I did this, it works. Secure loans and secure credit cards. How they work is you go into a bank, right? You get your refund check or your job check. You get a couple $100. You go to the bank and say, I want to, this guy, J. Mr. Real Estate, came in my school and said I can establish credit. And you go to the bank and say, I want to get, here's $200, $300, $500, $1,000. And say, I want to get a secure loan or I want to get a secure credit card, right? The way it works is you give the bank your money. They're going to make you fill out some paperwork. Before you leave the bank that day, they're going to give you your money right back to you. You're not going to lose any money that day. You don't lose a dollar by getting a secure loan or secure credit card. This is an easy way for you not to lose any money, because we know money is tight these days. You don't lose any money, but you start to establish credit. Easy. Everyone in here can start building credit, start building their FICO, making payments over time. So now I'm going to tell you the trick to using your credit card or the trick to paying back a loan the right way. It's a very simple rule.